Adan had always been the jewel of her parents' eyes. Her beauty was undeniable, and her charm made her irresistible. When her parents sent her to live with her grandmother in the city for schooling, they believed she would find discipline. But Adan saw it as an opportunity for something else, freedom. Grandma Agatha's house was a large compound where relatives came and went. Adan was thrilled to be around her male cousins, especially the older ones. She enjoyed the attention and flirted without restraint, thinking it was all harmless fun. She had learned from an early age that her beauty gave her power. A simple smile, a playful touch, a lingering gaze, these small gestures had a way of making boys weak. She tested these tricks on her cousins, giggling when they responded awkwardly. At first, it was just teasing, casual flirting over shared meals, secret smiles in the hallway, playful arguments that ended with her touching their arms. But soon, the energy shifted. Some of her cousins started looking at her differently. One of them, Chuka, was particularly drawn in. Chuka was 19, only a few years older than Adan. He was intelligent, but naive when it came to women. Adan enjoyed how he stammered when she teased him, how his eyes lingered when she leaned too close. She saw it as fun. He saw it as something else. Grandma Agatha noticed the way the boys acted around Adan. She had seen such things before, and she knew how dangerous it could be. One evening, she called Adan aside. "My child, you're playing with fire. A woman's beauty is a gift, but if misused, it can destroy lives, including yours." Adan only laughed. One evening, Adan found herself alone with Chuka in one of the rooms. She sat too close, whispering secrets and letting her fingers brush against his. Chuka swallowed hard, resisting the temptation, but his hands trembled. The door creaked open. Grandma Agatha stood there, her face unreadable. That night, Grandma Agatha called Adan to her room. "You will ruin yourself," she said firmly. "You think this is a game, but one day, you will regret it." Adan rolled her eyes. To her, Grandma was just old-fashioned, afraid of modern girls like her. Adan became more discreet. She knew she had to be careful, but the thrill was too addictive. She continued to toy with Chuka's emotions while engaging in playful flirtations with the other cousins. She never thought of the consequences until it was too late. It started with whispers. The other family members began to notice the strange tension in the house. Auntie Ifioma, a sharp-eyed woman, pulled Grandma Agatha aside one evening. "Mama, that girl is dangerous. If you don't stop her now, something terrible will happen." One fateful night, Chuka couldn't hold back anymore. He sneaked into Adan's room, thinking she wanted him to. But just as he touched her, the door burst open. Grandma Agatha, Auntie Ifioma, and Adan's uncle stood there. The silence was deafening. The next morning, the elders of the family held a meeting. Adan was summoned, her cousins present as well. "You have brought shame upon this house," Uncle Ben thundered. "You think this is a game, but you will see the consequences of your actions." The verdict was harsh. Adan would be sent back to the village, away from the city, away from temptation. Chuka was punished too, sent to live with his strict uncle in the countryside. The family hoped distance would mend what was broken. When Adan arrived at the village, she felt lost. People whispered about her, and her parents were deeply ashamed. Her once proud father barely looked at her. She had traded her freedom for disgrace. Village life was hard. There was no luxury, no cousins to flirt with. Just endless chores and stern faces. She resented her punishment at first, but slowly, the weight of her actions sank in. Adan often sat alone, thinking about the past. What if she had listened to Grandma Agatha? What if she had respected boundaries? Regret became her companion. But even in the village, temptation lurked. The young men there found her beauty irresistible. Some approached her with sweet words, others watched from a distance. She had to decide, would she fall back into old habits, or would she change? Adan sat by the river, staring at her reflection. She could no longer deny it, she had been reckless. The whispers of the villagers, the disappointed glances from her family, and the loneliness she felt were all consequences of her actions. Determined to change, Adan approached Grandma Agatha and begged for guidance. Grandma gave her a knowing smile and said, "Change starts from within. You must prove it through actions, not just words." A village boy, Tobe, attempted to lure Adan into old habits. She hesitated but firmly rejected him. It was a small victory, but it was her first step towards true transformation. Adan threw herself into farm work, something she had never done before. It was backbreaking, but she found unexpected satisfaction in earning her keep and gaining the village's respect. One evening, a man from the city passed through the village and recognized Adan. He tried to remind her of her past, but she looked him in the eyes and said, "That girl is gone." Slowly, the villagers began treating Adan differently. She no longer avoided their gazes, but met them with dignity. It was clear she was changing. Chuka returned to the village. He had matured, too. When they saw each other, there were no words, just a quiet understanding. They had both learned painful lessons. Grandma Agatha observed Adan closely. "You've grown," she finally said. "But growth is an ongoing process. Stay true to yourself." Adan's mother visited from the city. She saw the change in her daughter and, for the first time in years, hugged her without hesitation. One day, young village girls gathered around Adan, asking for advice. She realized she could use her past to teach them. She shared her story, warning them of the mistakes she had made. The annual village festival approached, and Adan was invited to help organize it, a true sign of her acceptance. A wealthy man from the city heard of Adan's beauty and sent her an offer to leave the village. But she turned it down, proving once and for all that she had changed. As the festival concluded, Adan stood with her family, feeling at peace. She was no longer the lost girl who arrived in disgrace, she was a woman with a purpose. The village women gathered to help Adan prepare for her wedding. They braided her hair, selected fabrics, and taught her the traditional dances she would perform on her special day. Adan's father, who had once been ashamed of her, arrived from the village. With teary eyes, he embraced her. "You have made me proud, my daughter," he whispered. It was the closure Adan had longed for. As the night before her wedding approached, Adan sat under the stars, reflecting on her journey. The mistakes, the lessons, the growth, it all led her to this moment. Dressed in a stunning traditional attire, Adan stood before the entire village as the elders conducted the ceremony. Chuka, looking dashing, held her hand firmly. Love and hope filled the air. After the wedding, Adan moved into Chuka's house. She decorated their new home, determined to build a happy and healthy family, free from the burdens of the past. Marriage came with its own challenges, but Adan faced them with wisdom. She and Chuka learned to communicate, to respect each other's boundaries, and to build trust day by day. Months into their marriage, Adan discovered she was pregnant. The news spread through the village, bringing joy to their home. She had once been lost, but now, she was preparing to bring life into the world. As her pregnancy progressed, memories of her past haunted her. Would she be a good mother? Would her child ever face the struggles she had endured? Chuka reassured her that their child would grow up in love. After hours of labor, Adan gave birth to a baby girl. Tears streamed down her face as she held her daughter. She whispered a promise, "I will raise you with love and wisdom." The village gathered to celebrate. The elders gave the baby a name, Ifyananya, meaning love. It was a testament to how far Adan had come and the new path she had chosen. As Adan watched her daughter grow, she often saw glimpses of herself. But this time, she vowed to guide Ifyananya with wisdom, ensuring she never had to learn the hard way. With a heart full of gratitude, Adan started an initiative to mentor young girls, warning them of the mistakes she once made and teaching them about self-worth and choices. One day, the village elders called Adan to a meeting. They honored her resilience and transformation, making her an official counselor for young women in the community. One afternoon, Adan received a letter from an old acquaintance, the man from the city who had once tried to lure her back. She burned it without reading, sealing the past for good. As if Ghanian grew older, Adan shared stories of her past, ensuring her daughter learned wisdom without having to make the same mistakes. Years passed, and Adan and Chuka grew old together. Their love deepened, their lessons passed on to future generations. The village continued to thrive, and Adan remained a symbol of hope. Sitting on her porch, watching her grandchildren play, Adan smiled. Life had given her many chances, and she had embraced them all. She had fallen, but she had risen stronger. As the sun set, Adan closed her eyes. Her story was not just hers, it belonged to the village, to her daughter, and to the many girls she had guided. Her legacy would live on. Now an elder herself, Adan became one of the respected women in the village, sought after for advice. She had come full circle. One quiet morning, surrounded by family, Adan took her last breath. The village mourned, but they also celebrated a life well lived, a story of redemption, and a woman who had once been lost but found her way home.